Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Gulshat and I am facilitator at Rani School Islamabad campus. So everyone, today I talk with ChatGPT. So let's get started.
Walaikum assalam, Gulshad. It's really nice to meet you. I'm excited to chat with you today, so just let me know what you'd like to discuss or what questions you have in mind, and we can dive right in.
Nice to meet you.
It's great to meet you too. I'm really looking forward to our conversation. Just let me know what's on your mind, whether it's about your work, a project, or something you're curious about, and we'll get started.
Okay.
Uh,
So topic name is a basic understanding. Okay. So my first question is that from you, what is empathy in leadership?
That's a great starting point. So, empathy in leadership is really about a leader's ability to understand and share the feelings of their team members. It's more than just being nice, it's about actively listening, seeing things from their perspective, and responding in a way that builds trust and collaboration.
Okay. So my next question is that from you, why is empathy important in network and
That's
teamwork?
Of course. So, empathy and networking is important because it helps you build more genuine connections. When you really understand and care about others' perspectives, their goals, and challenges, they're more likely to trust you and want to help you in return. So, it turns networking into a two-way, meaningful exchange.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, how does empathy differ from a sympathy?
Great question. So, empathy is really about putting yourself in someone else's shoes. You feel what they feel. Sympathy, on the other hand, is more of a kind acknowledgement of their situation. It's like feeling for them, but not necessarily feeling with them.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, what are the key traits of an empathetic leader?
Yeah, absolutely. So, some key traits of an empathetic leader include active listening, where they really pay attention to others, emotional intelligence, so they can read and respond to feelings, authenticity, where they're genuine, and a strong sense of fairness and open communication. All of that really helps build trust and a positive team culture.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, how can empathy improve workplace relationship?
That's a great point. Empathy can really improve workplace relationships by making people feel heard and valued. When employees feel understood by their leaders or peers, they're more likely to collaborate, be open about challenges, and trust each other. So it really fosters a kinder, more supportive work environment.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, why do employees value empathetic leader?
Yeah, so employees really value empathetic leaders because it shows them that their well being matters. When a leader understands their struggles or recognizes their achievements, it builds loyalty and motivation. It makes employees feel like they can bring their full selves to work and thrive.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, can empathy be learned or developed?
Absolutely. Empathy is definitely something you can develop. It takes practice, like actively listening, being curious about others' experiences, and reflecting on your own reactions. Over time, it becomes more natural and you get better at it.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, what role does empathy play in a decision making?
Yeah, great question. So, empathy and decision making helps leaders consider the human impact of their choices. Instead of just focusing on the bottom line, they take into account how decisions affect people, which can lead to more ethical, sustainable, and effective outcomes.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, how does empathy impact team morals?
Yeah, so empathy has a really big impact on team morale. When team members feel understood and supported by their leader, they're more likely to feel valued and engaged. That sense of belonging boosts overall motivation, collaboration, and even job satisfaction, so everyone performs better.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, how can leaders show empathy in a daily interaction?
That's a great one. So, leaders can show empathy daily by checking in with their team members, asking how they're really doing, and being open to their concerns. They can also validate people's feelings, give them space to express themselves, and respond with understanding, even in small things.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, how does empathy help leaders handle conflicts?
That's a really important one. So, empathy helps leaders handle conflicts by allowing them to see both sides of the situation. When leaders understand each person's perspective, they can find common ground, diffuse tension, and guide the team toward a solution that respects everyone.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, why is empathy essential during time of crisis?
Yeah, that's a really crucial point. So during a crisis, empathy is essential because it helps leaders connect with their team's fear and uncertainty. When people feel understood and supported, they stay more engaged, resilient, and able to navigate tough times together.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, how can empathy build trust between leaders and employees?
Yeah, absolutely. So empathy builds trust because it shows that leaders care beyond just tasks or performance. When leaders consistently acknowledge employees' emotions and challenges, it creates a foundation of trust where employees feel safe to be themselves, share ideas, and take risks.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, how does empathy influence leadership style?
Yeah, great question. So, empathy really influences leadership style by making it more collaborative and inclusive. Instead of a top down approach, empathetic leaders tend to engage their teams, consider different perspectives, and adapt their approach to meet the needs of the employees.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, how does empathy affect leadership effectiveness?
Yeah, so empathy really boosts leadership effectiveness because it helps leaders align their actions with what their team needs. When leaders understand their team's motivations and concerns, they can make decisions that drive better results, increase engagement, and create a more positive workplace.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, how does empathy strengthen the team collaboration?
Yeah, absolutely. So, empathy strengthens team collaboration by creating a safe space where people feel comfortable sharing ideas and taking risks. When team members know they're heard and understood, they trust each other more, which leads to better communication, more creative solutions, and a stronger sense of shared purpose.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, why is empathy important in a diverse team?
Ah, that's really important. So, empathy is crucial in a diverse team because it helps bridge different perspectives, backgrounds, and experiences. When leaders and team members practice empathy, they foster inclusion, increase bias, and ensure everyone feels valued, which leads to a more innovative and harmonious team.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, how can team members practice empathy with each other?
Yeah, that's a great one. So, team members can practice empathy by really listening to each other without interrupting, asking open ended questions, and trying to see things from their colleagues' point of view. They can also express appreciation and be mindful of different communication styles so everyone feels understood and respected.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, how does empathy reduce workplace conflicts?
Yeah, so empathy reduces workplace conflicts by helping people feel heard and understood before tensions escalate. When people feel acknowledged, they're less defensive, and instead of clashing, they can work towards solutions collaboratively. So it really opens up dialogue and trust.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, what are the benefits of empathetic communication in team?
Yeah, so empathetic communication has a ton of benefits. It builds trust, it reduces misunderstandings, and it makes everyone feel more valued. Plus, it encourages open dialogue, so teams become more engaged, creative, and effective in solving problems together.
Okay, nice. So my next question is that from you, how can empathy improve problem solving in team?
Yeah, that's a great point. So, empathy improves problem solving because when team members feel understood, they're more open and they bring their full perspectives to the table. That means they can identify creative solutions, anticipate challenges, and really address the root causes of issues, not just the symptoms.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, why is active listening important in teamwork?
Yeah, active listening is really important because it shows that you truly value what others are saying. It helps avoid misunderstandings, it builds trust, and it ensures that everyone feels heard. When people know they're being listened to, they engage more, share better ideas, and work together more effectively.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, how does empathy create a positive team environment?
Yeah, absolutely. So, empathy creates a positive team environment by making everyone feel respected and cared for. When people know their emotions and contributions matter, they're more likely to be engaged, collaborative, and motivated, so the whole team thrives.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, what role does empathy play in a supporting struggling team members?
Yeah, that's really key. So, empathy plays a huge role because it allows leaders and teammates to recognize when someone is struggling, offer support without judgment, and provide resources or flexibility. That care and understanding can really help someone get back on track and feel like they belong.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, how can empathy enhance creativity in a team?
Yeah, that's a great point. So, empathy enhances creativity because when people feel safe and understood, they're more likely to take creative risks. They share their perspectives, they build on each other's ideas, and they explore new possibilities. So, it kind of unlocks more innovative thinking.
Okay, so my next question is that can you share an example of empathy improving a workplace situation?
Yeah, definitely. So, for example, I once heard about a team where one member was struggling with a heavy workload due to a family back issue. Their manager took the time to listen, adjusted their deadlines, and offered extra support. As a result, the team member felt valued, their stress eased, and the team kept performing well because trust was built.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, how does empathy help during organizational change?
Yeah, that's really important. So, during organizational change, empathy helps leaders acknowledge the uncertainty and emotions of their team. When people feel understood and valued, they're more likely to trust the process, stay engaged, and adapt more easily to the new changes.
Okay, so my next question is that what are ways to show empathy in virtual teams?
Yeah, great question. So, in virtual teams, you can show empathy by being really present in conversations, like actively engaging in video calls, using people's names, and checking in regularly. You can also acknowledge their personal situations, be flexible with schedules, and create space for informal check ins so everyone feels connected.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, how can empathy help in managing difficult employees?
Yeah, that's a really valuable point. So, empathy helps by letting you understand what's driving the difficult behavior, whether it's stress, a lack of clarity, or personal challenges. Once you understand their perspective, you can tailor your approach, whether that's coaching, setting clearer expectations, or offering support, so you can guide them toward positive change.
Okay, nice. So my next question is that from you, how does empathy support mental health in the workplace?
Yeah, that's really crucial. So, empathy supports mental health by making people feel seen and valued. When leaders and teammates show understanding, it reduces isolation, encourages people to speak up about struggles, and helps create a culture where mental well being is a priority. So, it really makes a difference in how people cope and succeed at work.
Okay, so my next question is that what role does empathy play in a feedback and performance reviews?
Yeah, that's a really good point. So, empathy and feedback makes the conversation more constructive. When leaders deliver feedback with understanding, they acknowledge challenges and they encourage growth instead of just focusing on mistakes. This makes employees feel supported so they can increase and stay motivated.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, how can leaders balance empathy with discipline?
Yeah, that's a delicate balance. So, leaders can balance empathy with accountability by being clear about expectations, setting fair boundaries, and still holding people to standards. But when they do this with compassion, explaining why and how, employees are more likely to respect the process and
Okay, so my next question is that from you, what are common barriers to empathy in a leadership?
yeah, that's a really important question. So, some common barriers are things like time pressure, where leaders feel rushed, or their own biases, if they assume they know how someone feels. Also, lack of training and emotional intelligence, or just being too focused on tasks, can get in the way.
Okay, so my next question is that from you, can too much empathy be a problem? Why or why not?
Yeah, it definitely can be a problem if it's not balanced. So, too much empathy without boundaries can lead to burnout for the leader, or it might blur the line on accountability. So, a healthy balance is key, being compassionate, but also staying focused on goals and fairness.
Okay, how can leaders avoid emotional burnout while being empathetic?
Yeah, that's really important. So, leaders can avoid burnout by setting boundaries, practicing self care, and seeking support themselves. They can also balance empathy with delegation so they don't carry all the emotional weight alone. And
Okay, so nice. My next question is that why do some leaders struggle with empathy?
Yeah, that's a really common challenge. Some leaders struggle because they're very task focused, or maybe they haven't developed their emotional intelligence skills. Others might fear that showing too much empathy could undermine their authority. So it's often a matter of building that self awareness and practice.
Okay, ChatGPT, nice to meet you.
It's really nice to meet you too. I had a great time chatting, and if you ever want to dive into more topics or have more questions, I'm here. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you so much. So everyone, this was a ChatGPT. So I meet you again next ChatGPT. So inshallah, Pakistan, Zindabad, Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz. It was great talking with you, and I'll be here whenever you need me next. Take care and stay safe.